First of all, welcome to the this video series that we're doing for Cosmos Hub. We'll be talking about a lot about building on Cosmos Hub and some other interesting topics. I think a great start would be if you can give us like your name, what you're doing right now, what project are you working on?
Sure. My name's Lee. I'm one of the founders of Crypto Dungeon. It's a crypto gaming company that started about 2.5 years ago. We started out with this idea of wanting to build a gaming company and utilize crypto technology to help develop and fund that. So we've gotten to this point now after about 2.5 years where we built our own blockchain, and we're coming out with our second game, Cosmic Quest, very soon here.
A few questions about building on the hub, since you just in the process of launching a chain. Why did you decide to launch it on Cosmos Hub?
So I kind of got into Cosmos by watching YouTube videos and learning about it. I just started playing around with crypto for the first time. I never really understood it, so I wouldn't say that I'm a crypto expert or anything, but I started learning about the technology and what it could do and why it was different than some of the other blockchains that were out there in terms of interoperability and just able to launch your own kind of project without having to have someone else be in control of that.
So like you mentioned about the tech aspect of it. Is there something specifically in addition to the sovereignty aspect that you mentioned that makes you very bullish on Cosmos?
So Cosmos, from what I understand, you can compare it to Avalanche and Polkadot and some other technologies that sort of do a similar thing. I still think Cosmos is able to do that better. IBC has never been hacked. It's very secure. You could basically have interoperability, and our whole project is about working with other projects and just collaboration. So I thought that was the best place to launch.
What I think, now that you have been in the ecosystem for some time, you're also a validator. So what do you envision, at least for the coming few years, how the hub will turn out in terms of
Well, I mean, we're pretty much entrenched now in the ecosystem, so we want the ecosystem to do really well. And that's pretty much one of the big bases of our project is, helping foster interchain collaboration, making sure that the Cosmos ecosystem continues to grow. And that's why we're building interchain games, where we're actually going to be bringing people in from, mobile gaming communities and stuff like that into the ecosystem.
I think if you were to, because you're in the Cosmos ecosystem, and if there are other projects in the same category or otherwise, why would, if you were to give them a reason to sort of prompt them to build on Cosmos, what would it be?
Well, I think that once we're able to demonstrate that we can do and kind of show people that this is possible, it's a way of doing this where we can build interchain games, which helps multiple different chains at the same time, multiple different communities, and brings them together. I'm hoping that other communities see that and then follow suit. One of the things that we're trying to do is, bring value back to the Cosmos staker. So, with Cosmos, they don't require people to use ATOM as fuel, whereas, a lot of chains like Polkadot and Avalanche, that's sort of like a built-in mechanism. So we do want to use that, and we're hoping that other people kind of follow that. It's not required, but if people see the benefits of it, I think they'll also do the same thing.
So we'll jump into a few questions about ICS and the governance aspect of it. So since you're an ICS chain now, can you walk us through the process of how you decided to become an ICS chain and how it's something that's viable for other projects to also follow suit, since you're in the process already?
So we didn't always plan on having our own chain. It was kind of something that we decided that we needed to do later down the road. I was involved with Juno and trying to build there, but there were a lot of things that just didn't make sense in terms of what we were able to do. So we realized that if we didn't have our own sovereign chain, that would be just always kind of depending on someone else to make sure that they're doing the right thing. With an IBC, with shared security, we're able to kind of utilize the Cosmos set. It's a lot easier to launch a chain and secure it. So we kind of decided somewhat recently to do that, and just about to finish launching completely here.
For more projects to be on board, because I think ICS is a really cool model in base for, I think recently Dean mentioned that projects are able to launch their own sovereign chains it's Thursday, which is something that we also want to happen on Cosmos Hub. How can the hub incentivize projects to launch their own chains using ICS? What do you think could be the right incentives for them to offer?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to having the ability to utilize the security of the Cosmos hub. So when you launch your own chain, you have to come up with, depends what kind of chain you're running. Some of them want to have 50 to 100 validators. So you have to go and you have to communicate with each one of those and get them to do it. It's a lot of work, and you're also kind of relying on them, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And with Cosmos, you already have experienced validators that are doing this. So we probably would not have been able to launch without help from other experienced validators, because we're not really crypto tech people ourselves. We're more gamers and trying to build games, but we've met a lot of really cool people in the process. So I think just having that there and making it user-friendly is really all that you need to do. Plus there's things like Hydra that are coming out that's going to make it easier to get liquidity and things like that for your project. So all this is coming out all at the same time. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Hydra, which is also like liquidity bidding based on a governance mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So Cosmos is sort of like known for its governance aspect as well.
Yeah.
What was your experience with it? Was there a proposal that got you hooked to follow like a lot of these conversations, or so is there like a memorable proposal? A lot of times it's like for people it's the launch of Cosmosm or something like that.
Well, I don't follow every single governance proposal, but one of the big ones that I think came out was the ATOM 2.0 proposal, where they wanted to just revamp the tokenomics and try to make things so that the ATOM token would develop more value. And because the set isn't the most decentralized that it could be, I think it was very, very difficult to pass that, and it ended up failing. But I'm seeing more and more possibilities here of the Cosmos Hub set becoming more decentralized. It's already starting to happen. So,
since you're a consumer chain, which sector or which category of project do you want to join as a consumer chain on ICS next? Or like you predict?
Whatever is going to benefit the ATOM staker and bring value back, but I think they don't really need to recruit probably. I think people are going to want to join that because there's a benefit of doing that. The Cosmos Hub, I don't know what the value of the token like total right now is, like close to $2 billion or something like that. But there's an advantage to partnering with a larger entity like Cosmos. If you're self-funded like we are, it is very, very difficult to do this. And we have managed to get this far without funding, but to get big and to continue to grow, having help from a larger entity is a lot of a benefit.
I will jump into just quick rapid fire ones. So for ATOM token, would you sell or compound?
I've been compounding since the beginning. I've never sold it, which tough to stay in the long term. But like as a validator, we needed to build our stake in order to get to where we are. We actually got knocked out of the active set 6 times before we managed to secure a position where we are now. So we have always been compounding and staying in, and just thinking for the long haul.
Why should cosmonauts hold ATOM?
Well, if you support the ecosystem, I think not holding ATOM makes no sense. It is the token that sort of helps the entire ecosystem grow. So if you have a very weak ATOM, for example, people think, you don't really need ATOM to make the ecosystem strong because you have individual chains. Well, it's true, but if you have a stronger central hub, it just provides more security to everyone else.
Is there what is one challenge that's facing Cosmos Hub that that needs immediate work on?
Marketing. Yeah, and that's one of the areas that we're hoping to help on. So we've been trying to build more of a presence on social media, and we're hoping with gaming we're going to be able to just bring in massive amounts of users through gaming, because there really hasn't been a lot of Web3 stuff that's been done successfully yet in terms of gaming. We're trying to do it in a much different way that we think will be more appealing to the average mobile gamer.
Would you get 1,000 ATOM in 2019 when it just launched, or 100 ATOM per month starting today for 10 years?
That is a hard question. The compounding, mathematically, I don't know what the right answer with that would be, but
just give the feelings answer.
Whatever gives me more atoms.
Yeah, that's in a way correct.
Yeah, 100 every year?
100 every month till 10 years.
Well, that would probably be more than 2019, but I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like monthly would make more sense because
you get to have more atoms.
Yeah.
ICS, do you see it as a safety net or more of a growth accelerator for Cosmos?
Well, it's both. If you have a strong central hub that provides security, it's easier for other chains to grow. So it just provides a healthy ecosystem where you can get liquidity. So if the hub struggles, every other chain in the whole ecosystem probably is going to struggle as well. So it provides security, but it also helps foster growth because people are going to want to build with a strong community that they know is not going to be failing them long term.
You mentioned about Hydro, I think, since you've been following that, and it's a really cool mechanism that's coming. Like, how would you describe it in 3 words as to like what it can offer to Cosmos?
Well, I think smaller projects like ourselves that really are self-funded, that are looking for some funding. It's a way of stakers actually providing that. So if they think a project is worthwhile, they can actually give their atoms, and I'm not sure exactly the mechanism and how it works, but they're helping provide funding to support projects that are growing.
Do you have like a catchphrase that you tell to to build on the hub or
Well, I mean, we are not the most tech savvy team in Cosmos. We are validators, so we've obviously had to develop some technical ability, but we, as the first ICS chain launched, it was user friendly enough that we could do it. So I feel like if we can do it, almost anyone can.